What is going on, everybody? WeedleTwineedle here, and we are back again with another Sun and Moon Wi-Fi battle, and this one's going to be against that boy Pepe. Interesting. Now I battled my opponent off my Discord server, so if you guys are interested in a Sun and Moon battle and shared community chat room, definitely check out my Discord. A link will be in the description. Now before we get into the battle, I just want to ask you guys to like the video if you want to support the channel, as it means the world to me, and likes, you know, it actually really matters a lot, so I really would appreciate if you liked the video, just a little, reminder. Now, anyway, me and my opponent are having a rarely used battle today, as my opponent's team's looking pretty threatening with Necrozma, Chestnut, Delmise, Swallow, likely Spec Swallow, Rotom Heat, and Barbaracle, as I'm using Mudsdale, Bronzong, Muck, Emboar, Aromatisse, and Milotic. So, pretty fun team. I don't think I've used any of these Pokemon before besides my Bronzong and on this channel. So, looking forward to using these Pokemon. So, turn 1, going to be leading off with my Banded Mudsdale, as my opponent is going to lead off with Necrozma. Now, turn 1, my opponent senses something's up and decides to actually bring in Chestnut. Probably a good play, because I'm sure a Choice Banded Earthquake from this monster's attacks that would probably code Necrozma come very close to. So Choice Band Earthquake's going to absolutely chunk that Chestnut really hard, and I don't really have a switch into Chestnut, and I don't really want to switch into a Leech Seed. I don't think I have any grass types on this team, so I'm going to be forced out of here, and I'm going to bring in my Jimmy, my Muck, not a Alolan Muck, it's actually regular Muck. I know, guys, I probably have not seen this thing since like Gen 6, but yeah, it still exists. I know, it's really weird. But the Chestnut's not gonna seize the opportunity to lay up spikes. My opponent's team looks like a hazard stacking team. He has Necrozma and Chestnut, both of the entry hazards, as now my opponent's gonna bring in Necrozma, because it's obviously my Muck is not a dark type, unfortunately. I'm just gonna choose to go for the Gunk Shot with my Assault Vest. Muck does do a pretty big chunk into Necrozma. And I'm just going to go for it again, honestly, as I'm expecting Stealth Rocks to come out of the Necrozma. Pretty obvious play, so I'm just going to go for the Gunk Shot with my regular Muck. But unfortunately, I do miss, which really blows, because now Necrozma is able to go for the Psycho Cut. Apparently it's a physical Necrozma. My opponent said it was an autotomized Necrozma with weakness policy, so it's pretty cool, actually, but Gunk Shot's actually a 2-hit KO with min-max damage, and we're able to knock out Necrozma. I mean, he would have been unable to knock me out or do damage to me if I connected the initial Gunk Shot, but it's okay, all good, all good. Anyway, in comes the Barbaracle here, as I'm just going to choose to go for Shadow Sneak, because I'm going to die, as I do get a crit, but unfortunately the Poison Touch does not proc, which was what I was hoping for. My opponent does decide to get a little bit greedy, a little trigger happy, goes for Shell Smash. It's still very early on in the battle, so I don't really agree with this play, as I still have most of my walls relatively healthy, even though my opponent did set up all their spikes and rocks. So, gonna go for Shadow Sneak under the Barbaracle, not get the Poison Hacks from Poison Touch, unfortunately. Muck's letting me down, as now my Muck's going to go down to the Crit Razor Shell, so down goes Muck. It didn't really do much in this battle, unfortunately, but I'm sure I'll use it more in the future. But now in comes my Recycle Bronzong, and I'm hoping that this thing doesn't have like a Night Slash or something, as it looks like my opponent's best move to hit me with this Razor Shell, and it does do a lot of damage, almost knocks me out. But I'm going to get my Ogwap Berry here, get most of my health back, and now thanks to the Barbaracle being a +2 speed, Gyro Ball should be able to knock out the Barbaracle at -1 defense and +2 speed, so we're able to knock out Barbaracle, as now in comes Rotom Heat. Now Rotom Heat, I have no idea what set my opponent's running, but I'm expecting him to want to go for Volt Switch because I have Bronzong in, so I do get that play correctly, as now my opponent is going to Volt Switch into the Chestnut, as I do decide to go for Recycle just because I want to save the environment and get my berry back in the same turn. All good, and now I can pivot into more attacks and get all my health back. So that's actually why I like Recycle Bronzong with the buffed berries in this generation. It's pretty fun with Recycle, just playing around with Recycle and the berries. There's more Pokemon that can run Recycle with the berries, like Snorlax I've seen. Pretty cool stuff. But now Chestnut's going to go for the Roar here, as I do decide to go for Toxic, because knocking out this Chestnut is going to be pretty frustrating, but thankfully he does roar me directly into my Piglet, my Scarf Emboar, and it should be able to scare this Chestnut out. I mean, he might carry Spiky Shield, but even if he does carry Spiky Shield, he is Toxic, so he will be taking damage each turn, which is very helpful, so I'm glad I was able to get that off on the Chestnut. So here, my opponent is going to switch out and bring in the Rotom Heat, as now I can find out if this Rotom is an offensive or defensive set from the Flare Blitz damage. So Flare Blitz almost has half health of Rotom Heat, that pretty much tells me that he is offensive and likely choice Scarf Rotom Heat. And I am going to try to switch out here. My opponent decides to double switch into the Swellow, probably not wanting to risk the Volt Switch Mind Games, which is fair enough because I do bring in the Shit Horse here. And yeah, my opponent does bring in Spec Swellow onto my Shit Horse, unfortunately. It's now going to take a bunch of hazard damage. These hazards are getting a little bit frustrating, but I don't have a Rapid Spinner or Defogger, so I just have to deal with them. I thought I was going to go down to this Boom Burst, but freaking Shit Horse lives with 4 HP from a Specs Boom Burst. I was not expecting that, but hey. Well, I don't know what we take. Those Banded Close Combat, going to obliterate the Swellow, and freaking Mudsdale just face tanked a Specs Boom Burst. I'm proud of you, Mudsdale. I mean, that's pretty much all you did in this battle, but I'm so proud of you nonetheless. So now, my opponent is going to bring in Dhelmise here, and get his Rapid Spin kill. I figured he was going to do that when he brought it in, and I was very happy when he did. Get that nice, disrespectful Rapid Spin kill. I can actually respect that a lot. As now I'm going to bring in my Piglet once again, even though the entry has are pounding my butthole in. I just kind of have to bring it in because I don't really have anything else to really touch this Dhelmise. So now my opponent is going to decide to switch back out and bring in the Rotom Heat. As I was really close to clicking Superpower here, but it was, I mean, I don't know, I felt like it was really obvious and I thought he would want to stay in or something, but Rotom Heat lives with like 2 HP. I don't know how that's possible, but whatever. And I don't want to stay in here because I want to save my Piglet for, because I know I have one more switch in, so I may as well save it for the Flare Blitz. As now I'm going to bring in my Bronzong here, expecting the Volt Switch. As my opponent does decide to go for Volt Switch, it was kind of risky play because he could have went for Overheat, but whatever. I'm able to get the Agua Berry once again thanks to the Recycle earlier on, and now my Bronzong's pretty much back at full HP or near full. As now my opponent is going to bring in the Dhelmise, and I'm like, wait a minute, this thing's probably just going to knock me out with the Shadow Claw or something, and I was right. Shadow Claw's going to obliterate my poor Bronzong, but I actually live with 4 HP, and I'm like, what? What is going on, everybody? WeedleTwineedle here. No, I mean, like, for real? Like, wow. How is that even possible? My Mudsdale and my Bronzong both live with, like, 4 HP from, like, super powerful attacks. I'm kind of, like, surprised. But now my opponent gets his second Rapid Spin kill. That's pretty funny. I was giggling a little bit at that. This battle was just a big troll test, honestly. I actually brought a lot of walls in this battle. I didn't even realize that until after the fact, and I'm like, wait a minute, I have like 3 walls on this team. This is not like my, dude, my narration right now, oh my gosh, it's currently
3:28 a.m.
I need to go to sleep, but I'm trying to narrate this before I sleep, you feel me? So, Ice Beam from my Melodic is going to do absolutely nothing to the Dhelmise. Dhelmise ate that up. I'm like, oh my god, that is totally a self-best Dhelmise. My opponent ends up not carrying the Power Whip. It's actually a non-grass move Dhelmise, which is interesting. I figured he would have the grass move, but I guess Chestnut has a grass move. I'm not even too sure. But Ice Beam's going to bring Dhelmise pretty low, as you know, he's just going to chunk me out with the Shadow Claw. But thankfully, my Melodic is max defense, max HP, nice defensive Melodic, and it also has Haze. I don't know if it's Milotic or Melodic. I just say it both ways because they both sound cool, and you know, why not? So, Milotic did manage to knock out the Dhelmise, thankfully, as now in comes Rotom Heat. Gonna go for the Volt Switch onto my Melodic, and I'm just going to go down. Unfortunately, Azura cannot live that, but now we get to see what Rotom Heat wants to switch into, and what a surprise, it's gonna be Chestnut. All my opponent has left is the Rotom Heat and Chestnut, and all I have left is Aromatisse, and I do believe I have Emboar. So the poison is still very helpful against the Chestnut. I'm very glad I was able to get the poison off onto the freaking Chestnut and the Dhelmise, because that was very helpful indeed. So gonna take a lot of hazard damage here with my Aromatisse, and I can't speak right now, I'm so sorry. I was tempted to go for Calm Mind here, but I just decided to go for Moonblast in case my opponent wants to go for the Roar, as because it would stack up more hazard damage and then not allow me to get recovery. So I figured it was my opponent's best plays. Now in comes my Emboar here, and I'm going to take some Rocks and Spikes damage, but like I expected, I'm going to live. And I don't really have to go for Flare Blitz here because my opponent is at rather low HP, so I don't have to worry about Flare Blitz recoil knocking me out. So I'm pretty much free to click Superpower here. No reason not to. If my opponent carries Spiky Shield, so be it. I'm just going to go for the Superpower, knock out the Chestnut with ease, and all my opponent has left is like a 2 HP Rotom Heat. But this Rotom Heat's still a big threat. The Rotom Heat carries Thunderbolt, and you know, gets the nice roll. It could actually be an L for me, but my opponent does not carry Thunderbolt apparently. My opponent's Rotom Heat is Trick with Hidden Power Grass as well, so no Thunderbolt on this Rotom Heat. because who needs Thunderbolt when you can get Switch Initiative, right? But yeah, my opponent decides to lock himself into Overheat, and we find out he has Choice Scarf because he outspeeds my Scarf Emboar, so unless Emboar is really that slow, I'm pretty sure that Rotom Heat is Choice Scarf. So Rotom Heat's going to go for an Overheat here, almost knocked me out, kind of surprising, as I'm actually going to reveal my Z move here just because I want to showcase it and just show it off for fun. So unfortunately it is not Bloom Doom. Aromatisse does not go that ham, it's just Z Aromatherapy because I figure may as well give it like a 1-turn reliable recovery alongside Wish, like why not, right? So yeah, Rotom Heat's gonna go for Overheat once again. Obviously at -4 special attack it's going to bounce off Aromatisse, as Aromatisse will be able to end off the game with the Stab Moonblast on the Rotom Heat. So we're able to win the battle with a 1-0 victory, a rather close game. It was a little bit longer than my normal games, but that was because I brought a lot of defensive mons in this game because I've been playing really offensive lately, so I figured I'd mix it up for you guys because the battles have been like 2 minutes long instead of like, you know, decently long, so I figured I would mix it up a bit. And I hope you guys did enjoy the battle. If you guys did enjoy it, I really would appreciate if you hit the like button, as it's much appreciated and your support really means the world to me. And the question of the day is going to be, what is your favorite Pokemon cry? Now, if you guys are unfamiliar of what Pokemon cries are, it's the sound that they make when you throw them into battle and stuff. Now, my favorite Pokemon cry has got to be either Marshtomp from like everything before Gen 6, and Espeon. Espeon being my favorite Pokemon also has one of my favorite cries. It sounds really cool. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below what your favorite Pokemon cry is, and I'll check you guys in my next video. Alright, peace.